Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're going to be doing an unboxing of Ageamonia. I am super pumped to get into this game. This is something that I've been waiting for a while. This is Colin and my Kickstarter copy we pledged for. I'm excited to open this up and show you everything that this game has to offer. This is our all-in pledge that is going to include all the different stretch goals and all the extra add-ons that had to do with this game. For those of you that don't know anything about this game, it's a 1 to 4 player game where you're going to be doing a narrative-driven story that has a huge adventure that goes along with it, with skill checks and character skills and all these neat things. There's so many cool things about this game that I can hardly wait to show you them all. There's going to be tarot cards that are going to develop the story as you're moving around on the map. That could be both a battle or something else that's happening that your characters are going to have to deal with based on the story that is unfolding in front of you. This is a fail forward type game. Now, I don't know the ramifications of the failing forward, but we'll find out as potentially we play through it and some of the playthroughs coming up soon. Let's dig into Ageamonia, see what this game has to offer, and if you're excited to do that, then I need you to meet me at the table. Now, before we unbox this thing, we do have a bunch of other stuff we're bringing in. We have card sleeves that came with the Kickstarter. There are 3 different kinds, and in case I'm not going to unbox the sleeves, but I do get a lot of comments sometime asking what sleeves you have. Now, these were part of the Kickstarter. These are just, these small sleeves are 44 to 88 millimeters thick, or not thick, but size. These are just standard sleeves, 63.5 to 88 millimeters. And then we have some tarot cards. We have a lot of tarot cards. They are up for, I think it's 70 by 120, and there are a ton of tarot sleeves. As you can see, there's like a whole bunch of these, but only one normal pack of cards. So if you're looking to what kind of card sleeves you should buy, probably a ton of tarot sleeves and maybe a few smaller ones, and you probably have at least one of the regular ones laying around. We're also going to have 2 sets of dice. I'm not going to open these as well. These are just extra dice that came with the pledge, and that you're going to see the dice in the Kickstarter unboxing when I do it. There are some upgraded chips that I'll talk about as we get into the game, and there are some metal coins that are going to replace some of the cardboard ones that are part of it that you're going to see inside the game. So those are the extra parts of the Kickstarter, but that's not all. You think I'm done? No, no, no. There's an Origins book. This really intrigues me. So what this is this is not going to spoil the game for you. This is a narrative that has to do with kind of the background of the world and different things that happened in it. On top of that, they do have backgrounds and backstories for all the heroes. It is a fully fleshed out world that has an entire book that goes along with it. And if you don't want to read through the book, there is a fantastic app that you can download that once you click on the character, it will actually word for word read each one of the different hero characters. So for example, if you want to be Torax, the last of the Lightbearers, you could learn the story of him through the app. They would narrate this entire section of the book for you until it got to the next one over here, which is then going to move into Jonia, Abergate's Avenger. So there are the app itself is pretty cool, and I don't think it narrates this part of it. This part you'll just have to sit down and read, and I'm excited to do that. I normally don't get a chance to read these kind of books because they don't build them for games like this. So it's really cool to see that this book is, you can even read it before you even play the game, and it tells you a whole bunch about this backstory of the game. Super, super cool. And on top of that, this wouldn't be a full Kickstarter unboxing if, of course, it didn't come with a huge box of miniatures. So we're going to dig through these as well after we get through the main box that has to do with Ageamonia. So let's dig into it and see what we have found here. We'll take the top off. It has a neat art piece that you can see here, and on the back of it, it looks like it's going to tell us how to get everything back into the box. Super happy they do this. This helps a ton because otherwise sometimes I'm scrambling as to where to put what, and it tells us everything. Like, it even tells you how to set up all the trays, which is fantastic, instead of just guessing as to where everything goes or hoping that somebody on Board Game Geek has done it for you and you can just look at what they did. So we'll move that over there. Here are some bigger maps. Now, the game itself does have maps inside of a double in a book that's actually spiral bound. So there are maps that you're going to play on in there, but these might be added maps to those, or maps that you're going to play outside of the actual storybook itself. It might tell you to take these maps out. Now, one thing about these maps I want to talk about is what you're seeing on the maps themselves. I'm going to take out one so I can show you all the different parts that are on this map. So the first thing you're going to see is obviously all the different parts. These are the different areas you can go to. There are, of course, walls. You can't go through that when you're moving zooming around these things. It tells you where to start. Now, the interesting thing about this is look right here. These letters and numbers that go along with this, these are going to be story cards that you're going to pull as you're playing through the game. So if your character moves into H, you're going to use that, you're going to read that card. And I believe this is the distance you have to be in order to see this. So if I was here, I'd be able to see this and have to deal with H. If I'm in this square, I would deal with N and be able to see P because it's one away from me. In theory, I think that's how this goes. Of course, if I'm wrong, I'll probably talk a little bit more about it later on in the video. These maps are double-sided, so you're going to see multiple maps like this throughout the game. And like I said, these are just outside the ones that are going to be in the spiral-bound book. The other thing you're noticing here is these dots. All these dots here, this symbolizes how many characters can stand in that particular square, including enemies. So it could be you and enemies. That's the max number that can be in those particular areas. I think that's all I'm going to show you on these maps. If I see anything else when we look through the actual story books themselves, maybe I'll show you a little bit more. But do know there's quite a bit of these maps. So it'll be interesting to see if these tack onto the book or if these are going to be outside of the book themselves. But here they are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 10 of them, I'm going to guess. Let's see here. Let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of them. Okay, not 10. But they are dual-sided. Now, I don't know when these maps are going to take place. Again, trying to be as spoiler-free as possible, but I have to show off at least some of the game. This is some of the maps for the game. I don't know why or where you're ever going to encounter them, but there's a few of the maps. Here is I think this is the map. This is the map of the world right here, and it shows you all the different scenarios and where they're going to take place. I believe there's up to 36 different scenarios inside this game. Do you play them all? I do not know. I haven't played through the game. It might be even less, 34, and then I think that's about, I see 34, but maybe there's ones that are outside of this map. Then on the back side, oh, they have some that are inside the town. That would be why we have some extra numbers I couldn't find out there. There are ones inside the town of Runedale as well, and it looks like it does have a campaign tracker for the houses of maybe inside the towns or else the different parts of the land. And as you go up these reputation tracks, potentially cards are going to be drawn, or you might be gaining extra things for characters that have to do with these. I don't know. We'll have to see how that all plays out, but that's super cool. So you can leave this to the side. You don't actually have to have that while you're playing the game, but it is going to be something you're going to want to track as you go through it. There are party and hero papers here. You can keep track of your character and you can keep track of your party that you're playing with. Those are going to go to the side. Now these are going to be used for when it comes to the monsters, and depending on how many monsters it tells you to use in the scenario, you're going to pull these to be able to represent how many of those there are. If I can get this open to show you what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can get it. As you can see, I finally got them out. So for example, you're going to put the enemy card there, and these are going to represent how much damage they've taken. So you're going to use 12-siders or any other type of dice that they tell you to use, and you're going to track their health that way. So say this one has 12 health, you're going to set it to 12. If there even is 12, let's just say it has 10. So you put it to 10, and as that particular monster takes damage, you'll tick this down to 8, 7, 6 until it finally dies. Then you remove the die from that part of the board. And there are 3 of these. They are, one tracks up to 6, one tracks up to 8, and there may be more of these inside the game as we go forward. These, I believe, are going to be reusable stickers. I could be wrong, but I think these are reusable for the game. I do not believe there's a legacy element to this game, so after you play it, you can just remove these stickers and put them back on. Yes, these are reusable stickers that are going to be able to go right back onto here once you're done playing the game. That's fantastic. Love it. Let's see what we have next. We have a errata that is going to be able to answer some of the questions that apparently have already come up before the game even came out. Who knew they already had answers to questions that hadn't even come up yet? So you'll want to keep this nearby. There also, I'm sure, is a website for you. I don't know it off the top of my head. I apologize. But that are going to be able to continue the errata and probably has already added things as the game has started to become out to backers and things of that nature. We have the rule book. The whole rule book is right here. It has, I think it's, let's see how many pages it is. I'm going to guess 30 something. Nope, 56. Missed it by that much. Like, get smart. Missed it by that much. 56. Okay, and it looks pretty thick when it comes to the rules themselves. So we'll have to dig through this. We'll read through this, and then we'll do a playthrough of it. Most likely, I'll be doing a playthrough of some of the first few missions, and then Colin and I may play this together live as hit and miss on our channel. So please take a look at that going forward. You may see it pop up in our live stream for us to be able to play together. Otherwise, I may continue just playing this, and you'll be able to see the game unfold around you if you wish to do that. All right, let's put this aside. We'll have to take a look at that. Here are the books. These are the scenario books, and that are going to have the maps and everything that go along. Oh my gosh, these things are cute. These are absolutely huge, and that's fantastic. I'm super glad they're huge because that means they're going to be able to have a lot of stuff on them. Let's go with number 1. We'll start with our first book here, the campaign book. I'm sure this is going to teach you how to play. It has the tutorial in here for 1, 2, and 3. So hopefully that maybe will have the pictures of the map. So here's a picture of the map. It doesn't have the full map in here. I'll have to find the book that does. It's going to, actually, I think it looks like it tells you how to play the game right from here. I don't know if you might not even need to read the rule book to you. I see what you can do with just this. I think you can get by just by playing with this alone for the time being and learning how to get everything set up. I'm hopefully not spoiling too much trying to dig through here. I'm not even sure what any of this is, but it does look like there's a whole bunch of stuff in here that you're going to have to learn. Okay, that's the first one. Maybe the second scenario book has some of the maps in them. Oh, it looks like it has the maps. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to show you the first map because that's the very first one you're playing on. Here we are. Here is the first map, again, showing you little parts of the game. Now, if you're interested in seeing the game in action, I know Derek over at Canje Studios is doing a live stream of this. He might have already done it. And at the time of this recording, please go check out his channel, and you can see the first scenario. He might even go through 2 or 3. I don't know. I'll have to check it out when I get a chance. I believe he's streaming it at the time of this recording right now. He's streaming it while I'm recording and unboxing. We're going to still look at these. Now, again, like I said, you're going to see different things here that are going to pop up for some of those story event cards. Here's our start right here, and it looks like this is a 2-part map. It does have an initiative tracker. Normally they don't have an initiative tracker on the actual map. You're going to be using a deck of cards, and I will show you those as we go forward. Let's move this away because I don't want to show any more from that, and I'm definitely not showing you any of Storybook 3. That is not what I'm going to show you. We're going to put all of the books to the side, and we're going to dig through the first set of trays here. It looks like they're pretty much all empty except for the miniature ones, dice ones, and some of these first starting parts of the game. The first one we have is all the miniatures that we have. These are the hero miniatures. They are in blue. I will have to have my Patreons decide which ones we're going to play with in the playthrough. If you're interested in picking the miniatures, or not the miniatures, the heroes, I guess. What comes with the miniatures, I guess. Then if you're interested in deciding who plays in our games, you can join the Patreon. The link to that is in the description. I let my Patreons decide what we play. Therefore, with their support, they're able to influence and have a say in how the game transpires. Here is the character we read a little bit of, or looked at in that storybook for a second there. He is right there, the end of the Lightbringers or something, I believe. Here's a lizard man. It looks like there's a lizard man with multiple arms. That's something else. Let's see what else we can see here. Here's another one. These miniatures look okay. I think they look pretty cool. They've got some pretty neat detail, especially a swirling on the back there. So we'll have to paint these up during one of my live painting streams. I do those I try to do them at least once a week, where we try to paint up some of the miniatures that we're going to be using inside the game. So once my Patreons decide who we're going to play with, I'm going to paint those miniatures up for everybody. The next thing we have is the action boards for some of our heroes. I'm going to dig into a little bit more of this once we get to the actual hero boards, but as you level up, you're going to be able to put different skills into these for each of the different characters. They all have a different skills that are going to be able to unlock as they go forward in the game. And speaking of skills, inside there is also markers for which action you wish to perform during your turn, and they're found right here. Now the cool thing about this game is it's not a set initiative. You're going to choose what action you're going to do, and they're going to flip over an initiative card based on whatever that initiative card is going to be the order in which different things are going to go. So by the time it comes to your turn, the action you have chosen may not be exactly optimal or even be able to do what you're hoping it could do. So they do have some of these stickers here. This one right here is going to go on top of these, and you can choose to negate whatever action you're doing to give yourself a little boost to potentially an extra movement or being able to bring back some of your stamina at some point. So you'll always have at least something you can do during the game, even if the action you chose is not going to really work out to the way you're hoping it would. On top of that, we do have different gems that we're going to be using. We have yellow and blue gems in here. The game does come with a complete set of standees for every enemy, and that's what these are for. Now, of course, we're not going to use those. We've got miniatures because we love miniatures. But they're an option for everybody, which is pretty cool. They do give us that option. That's everything for that set. Let's go to the next one. We're going to dig into more of these. These are, I believe, all empty. Is this one empty? Yes, this one's empty. And like I said, the game itself is going to tell me what to put in each one of these. Perfect. We have our player boards. Those are the next things I kind of want to touch on. So let's grab our hero boards out of here and see what we can find. It does look like there's actually multiples of these hero boards. So let's grab the rest of these. These are all empty. We're going to be putting things into these as we go forward. But let's dig through the rest of these trays and see what all the characters are that we have options to use. Here are all the different heroes, I guess. Here are all the heroes. That's pretty good. We have this character right here. Now, I don't know exactly how they're all going to play in the game. We'll have to see how that moves forward. Now, do notice they are not all exactly the same. This person has a focus, which when you use this action, for like I said, you're going to slot this in to if you decide to use this action. And then when that color comes up in the initiative deck, you would perform the action shown on that particular part of your board. You're going to get other ones as well. And just like I showed before, you're then going to be able to attach another one to here that's going to have even more actions that you can do going forward. But what you'll be able to use that little pog here to figure out which one you're going to do from what I understand. Set it on there or move it to the side or something like that. I think it's going to be pretty cool. All right. So they do have like, you can do a maneuver action, which is going to give you either a movement or you can recover stamina or health. And you can choose again up here an extra maneuver if you want to. You can focus, which is going to give you a little bit better chance to do skill checks and things of that nature. There's a taunt value. Every character has one, 7, 9, 1, forward 3, and so forth. This taunt value is going to be kind of a deciding factor when it comes to how to decide how an enemy is going to operate on the board. It has all the different statistics for your character. Down here is the weight in which you can carry for your character. Looks like everybody has a 5 at the start, but that may change based on certain skills of that nature. Here are 2 different places you can put your weapons and armor items and things of that nature. So you can hold up to 2 things, but anything in your backpack is not technically able to be used when you're playing through the game until you get it out of your backpack and into your hand. Over here, we're going to be putting a stamina dial that is going to be able to flip back and forth, and that's going to show how much, not only how much health you have, but also how much stamina you have to be able to perform certain actions. Or when you roll the dice, you can remove certain stamina tokens to give yourself extra successes to be able to complete whatever objective you're attempting to do. Maybe hit the monster, or open a door, or I don't know, throw a rock. You never know what you're going to be able to do in this game. So these are all the different characters though, and every one, like I said, is a little bit different. So like this one can move 2 or 3, this one moves 1 or 2. It all depends on how what characters you choose. But the starting abilities for everybody is going to be this maneuver and focus. But like I said, even after the first mission here, you're going to be putting in even a new skill that you can use. This person is different. It has 4 hands because he actually has 4 arms, so you can hold up to 4 arms worth of stuff, which is pretty awesome. Here's Deno. She looks kind of cool. He could taunt 6, but I mean, he's not the best taunter. This person's a better taunter. That's pretty funny. He's the best taunter. He must be the tank of the group. We have, I'm going to guess, kind of a magic using type character. Here's a thief type character, I'm guessing. And this is going to be the archer type character. I have no idea. This looks more like a valiant warrior. This one looks the coolest. I want to play this one. Hey, anybody who's interested in voting, vote for that one. That one's pretty cool. Okay, well, imagine putting these 2 together. They look like good and evil. Put them together. Let's see what happens. Anyway, those are all the characters. Let's put them aside. Now, I do want to mention, it looks like each one of the characters is going to slot into one of these. So I believe this is going to be able to hold all the stuff that you have accumulated for the game. And you'll just put everything for your character into here, into the box, and you're ready to go. Bring this back out, pull this out. Your character is ready to go. That's my guess. Am I right? I don't know. Each character does come with its own storybook that is going to unfold during the game. It'll tell you to turn to different one of these depending on who you have and where you are in the game. And then you can decide to either read it to yourself and not tell the group, or you can read it out loud so everybody understands what is happening to your character and moving forward in the game. And maybe you, depending on what happens in here, it may send you down different paths when it tells you to do different objectives. Maybe this will tell you to do a different objective because that's based on your character. I don't know, but it'd be really cool if it did. We'll put those aside. And again, we have more character trays that are going to be able to hold. There are 4 of them, which is why I believe these are going to be character trays that can hold everything for our characters. We do have 2 side things here. These, I believe, they're heavy, so I'm going to guess they've got something in them. We are going to open them up. We've got tons of cards. That makes total sense. I was wondering where the cards are. Here are the cards. I found the cards. Now, this is the only deck that is going to be with those regular sleeves. This will open all these decks at least a little bit and show you what I can. Now, again, I don't want to spoil too much of the fun of the game, so depending on how much I can show you, we'll see what I can do here. Again, I'm not going to spoil any of the surprise. Let's just pull this all out and see what I can do. Here's the very first story we are going to be playing, so I'm not going to be spoiling anything. The card I'm going to show you is the one in the rule book that they use to explain what these cards are. So as we're playing through this particular mission, the Flooded Inn, we're going to come across this shimmering squid. And the shimmering squid here, just to show you what it is, first off, it shows the letter that has to do with those points on the map that you've come across. On top of that, it shows you what mission it's from, the name of the card, some text that has to go with it. This is the value I was talking about earlier on the map as well, that shows you the range you have to be, an ally has to be within this range in order for this card to be revealed. And once it is, then you're going to read through the story text that has to do here, and then you can do what it says on the bottom. This one particular one says flip, and it talks about flipping story cards on page 8. It talks about that, and I believe this is in where it says 1. That is not the rule book. This is actually that campaign book 1, and it'll talk about what to do. So if we decide to do this, we would flip it over and resolve what is on the other side of this. Now that's all I want to show you when it comes to these particular cards, because I don't think the rest of it is shown inside the instruction booklets, so you have to discover what happens when you flip that card on your own. But do know it does have a front and a back, so you know exactly when to stop going into the next mission, so you know to take these for this particular mission. And if you went forward into the next mission, you would take the cards for number 2 until you found the end of it, and then you have number 2's cards, you have number 3's cards, and you go forward with that. And of course, like I said, there's a lot of them here. A whole bunch. It goes down like 33 down there. So there's a whole ton of different cards to deal with here. Let's see what some of the other cards we have are. Once you progress into the game, you're going to be able to unlock the city that we saw on the back of the map. And you're going to be able to do many different things in the city, such as buy equipment, sell equipment, gain some boons, and a lot of other things in that city. Now, once you're done with that, you're going to draw a city event card, and you'll have to deal with what it says. Now, again, this is the card they use as the example in the rule book as to how to do these. So again, not spoiling too much. The things you see, here's the name of the city that it's up here, like the title of the card, what deck it would go into. This is what you're gonna have to deal with, the illustration that goes along with it, which I do really appreciate, kind of the whole black and white kind of drawing. It looks really cool. Then we have some text that has to deal with. Then it says like what you do, and you have to make a choice, and you have to read in the one of the storybooks what exactly happens after you decide on that particular outcome. And then of course your city event phase would be done. Once that's done, you can choose to go on your next adventure, and sometimes you'll have cards that are going to be able to tell you what it like. You can pick the adventure you want to go on. The next one I'm going to show you is one of the very first starting ones, and here's what it shows you. It shows you what exactly it is, where you want to do. You can head to the warehouse or actually play the scenario if you want to, a little bit about it. It tells you if you're going to gain any type of experience points, what you have to do to unlock this particular mission. We have to be at least level 1 to be able to do this. Now, as we go forward, some of them might actually have, so here's we got some level 2s, and then eventually some of these might even say like, okay, so for example, this one says I have to have this one completed in order to get there, so I'd have to go to this one first. So it does give you can't just instantly just kind of pick where you want to go. I believe these are going to unlock as you play through the game, and you'll decide where you want to go with your characters. Now, from what I understand, once you complete a scenario, it doesn't mean you can't go back to it. I believe you can still go back to it in case there's something you've missed. I could be wrong about that, but I believe you can actually return to some of these. Now, on top of that, some of these scenarios are going to be like arena type scenarios, but you can't do the same arena over and over again. You can only do them once, and you have to go somewhere else. Another cool factor of this game is your characters are going to learn professions: runesmithing, enchanting, toxicology, inscription, streetwise, alchemy, and pet training even. You can choose one of these, and as you unlock it, you're going to be able to use some of the things from your character to be able to turn some of the resources you got into maybe more expensive or useful resources that you could then sell or potentially use in some of the parts of the game that you may come across that needs them. Or you can make weapons and runes, things of runic devices. Of course, you'll have to level these up as you play through the game in order to do some of these things. Streetwise, you'll be able to maybe gain more money when you sell things, or more experience points or things of that nature. Alchemy can maybe make some potions of some kind, or turn some of these other resources into more valuable resources. Again, not exactly sure how it's going to work. We'll have to see as we play through the game. The last two set of big cards is we have some artifacts. There are 10 artifacts. I'm not going to look at any of them. I'm going to be surprised when I see them. And then there also are these world events. I'm not going to look at any of these, but these could be something you may have to draw a world event after you maybe complete a mission and you're going back out to the town. Or you're in the town, you're going out to your mission, you may have to pull a world event. We'll have to see what some of these do, but look at how many world events there are. Super cool. And of course, they're going to be very similar to the other city one, where you're going to read what it has to do with. You're going to have to make a choice and decide how you and your character group is going to be able to function and have to deal with the certain thing that's happening inside the world. They do have player aids that are going to teach you how to set everything up for the city and how to set everything up for the scenarios that you're going to be playing. And there's 4 of them, one for each character or player that is playing the game. I will say, looking at the box for the cards, I believe this is here, so it does give you the ability to sleeve all your cards without any problem. I could be wrong. I haven't sleeved them yet. We shall see when it all transpires. Moving on to the regular style of cards, the first couple cards we have is going to be the henchmen and the allies. These are characters that you can gain, and maybe the enemy gains as well. That'll help you in the game. You'll be able to, it might tell you to take ally number 5, or it'll tell you to search for the name of the certain henchman, and you're going to put that out there on the board or something of that nature. There's not too many of these, but that's okay. We'll put those aside. Next, we have, this is super cool. These are profession mastery cards. So when you get so far in your profession that you have become a master, you're going to gain these cards that is going to give you probably some super ability that helps you in the game. It's going to be awesome. The next thing that's super cool is not only do you have your characters being able to have that first row of skills, but when you gain your next player board, you're going to have to choose which path you want to go down and learn the skills that you have. And when you go into particular missions, you get to bring the skills you want to, and usually you get a little synopsis of the mission before going forward. Decide if you want to bring certain skills with you, or you might just be able to bring them all depending on what you have here. So for example, here is one of the characters that's going to either become an Iox hunter or a blade master, and it gives you a little bit of what this character is all about, and then the skills that this character will learn going through it. And if you don't want to know what the skills are before you decide on it, that's kind of cool too. Here's Drenosh's 8 songs, either the Pyro Blade or the Marauder. Super cool. This person could be a shaman or a ranger, a paladin or a knight. Well, this is Lunar. Then we've got a telepath or a hydromancer, a geomancer, a guardian. Super cool. A witch or an assassin. This must be that assassin type character, which could be a witch. Wow, that's kind of a neat concept. All right, so that's kind of cool. They have their own tree of class skills that they're going to be gaining as well. The next thing is the initiative cards. Now, some of the initiative cards are there. If you look on I think it's this side, it must be, yes. So you look at this side, they have different colors. You can change the difficulty of the game by adjusting the colors that are inside of this particular deck. So if you want to play on hard, extra hard, or an easy mode, you can set your deck up, the initiative deck, to be in that particular order. Now, what you're seeing on the initiative cards themselves is what skills are going to be going first. So if we looked at our character, for example, remember we have these red and blue skills. So whichever one we chose, say we chose the red skill, we'd be going here on this activation. But before we do that, we also have to check out our enemy. I'm going to show you one enemy. This is the first enemy you're ever going to fight. So again, I don't believe it's too much of a spoiler, but it's nice to show you everything that's going on in this game. We have a skitter here. It's a beast. It does have his health equal to 2 times the amount of players. So if you're playing with 4 players, that means this thing has 8 health, which is kind of cool. I don't believe it drops any loot or anything. Now, these are going to be the actions it's going to perform based on where it sits on the card. So the first one it's going to do is this, because it's up on the top. Well, that's nothing. It's just going to snoop around. It's not going to attack, but it's going to move 2 spaces towards the closest person. And if it's in the space, it's not going to move. So, and of course, if there's a tie, it would go towards that taunt value. Then it's going to continue down. The next thing, but we would activate any green skills we had, and then the red skills and so on. Red skills activate, then this would, oh, now it's going to move up and try to attack somebody for 2 damage. Then it's going to move on down. Oh, then it's got this skill here, so then that one's going to activate. So it's kind of cool how these skills activate and they go back and forth. It's not always just going to be all the enemies activate. Well, kind of it is. If you have 4 skitters on the board, they're all going to activate when they hit these particular things. And you're going to activate when your skills hit certain areas here. Now, see these different colors here? If you remember the first mission you saw that I said there's a little initiative thing up here, those are the colors that are going to happen for those particular things. Now, I believe these might be potential other like factors, maybe skills that we have, or maybe skills that boss monsters have or things of that nature, but it's kind of cool how these all activate. I think that's really, not to mention, if you get this particular card, if you are using your red skill, you also get an extra maneuver you can do as well. So the initiative cards are pretty neat. You shuffle them up, you just draw an initiative card, and that's what's going to happen for that turn. And like I said, say you have picked something that you're hoping to do, and your initiative fell all the way down to here, and everything else is gone, and it's just not going to be beneficial. You can spend your thing to give yourself a little bit extra maneuver, or be able to rest to get some of your stamina back so that you can do maybe some more things the next turn. So that's the way the initiative deck is. Super cool. The first set of small cards I have these are just some trap cards here. There's only about 6 of them. I believe that you're either going to put them out, or of course the scenario itself might put them out, and they could potentially do things to you. One person, or if you're within one square, for example, 5 damage or something of that nature. We'll see how this all plays out as it goes. I'm not exactly sure how exactly these work, but we'll put them aside. The next thing I have is a bunch of different conditions, and these are going to be just out there face up that you can grab. Like we have confused, we've got stunned, we've got invisible, cursed, dominated. I mean, there's a whole bunch, and you're blessed. They're all going to affect the dice rolls and actions that you can perform in the game until you're able to get rid of these. And you'll find out how to get rid of them. To discard attack an enemy or like that. To discard a token when resolved, discard when resolved, ally an enemy. Before or after roll, get +1, discard when resolved. So a lot of these only actually happen for one turn, and then you can kind of get rid of them. But those are all the different conditions. Now, injuries you can gain as well. If your character loses all the stamina that they start with, they're going to flip their token over and have an injured side. Once that injured side runs out of tokens, then you're going to have to you're going to be done for the mission. Then I believe you're going to draw an injury card that you're going to have to deal with for a long time. For example, may not use potion, elixirs, drought, or herb items. If you had injured mouth, you can't drink. If you have another one, you have cracked skull, so you have -1 on all those particular tests. So it's going to make your character a lot more wounded going forward. There are 152 different items in this game that you can gain going forward through the different quests. I'll show you one of them because this is one that they do show in the actual game book. It's probably one you're going to start with in your game. Right here it shows you the dollar value, the encumbrance, how many hands it takes to use, what it can do. It's a melee weapon. But this down here is going to mean you get -1 success when you attack with this weapon. So when you roll the dice, I haven't talked about the dice. The dice are super cool. You are going to roll a certain number of dice based on what it tells you to do. And then you're going to roll them, and this is a success. This is a success. This is a double success. This is an exploding success. So if that is what you roll in another die. If you get yet again another one of those symbols, you roll in another die. And this symbol is kind of interesting. This will give you success, but you have to spend stamina points. So that, remember when I talked about our characters getting stamina values? I believe the stamina tokens are going to be in here, and I'll show you those shortly. Say this person has 5. You'd have a stack of 5 chips that you'd put on your character. And if you got that roll on the die, you would have to, if you wanted to, you don't have to. Say I roll the dice, I got 1, 2, I got an exploding die. So I got 1, 2, 3 successes, but we need to get 5. I could spend 2 chips to turn this into pretty much a 2 success die. Or I could spend none and just leave it as a nothing die, and if 4 was enough, we'd be fine. So the dice are really cool. You basically can't, they're those kind of dice where there's no like auto fails on these dice, which is really cool. There's no zeros on the dice. Now, when the monster hits you, it'll do damage equal to what it says on its card. So for those skitters, let's say it was 2. Well, then you'll be able to roll some defense dice based on whatever items or abilities your character has that gives you the ability to try to negate some of that damage. And based on what you roll, you're going to be able to negate them. Now, of course, there are ones on here that are blank, and that means you may fail. You may go, and then you get nothing, and you take all the damage, and that's okay. But hopefully it's not enough that's going to kill you. So the dice there are 3 different types of dice. Those 2 dice, and of course the different 12-siders, which I believe are mostly used for hit points for enemies, but you might use them in the game as well. So those are the item cards. The only other cards left I have left to show you is kind of like a timer deck that they have in this game. And the cool thing about this timer deck is not just you count the cards, every one of these has a different value. So depending on what you draw, say you are doing a scenario that it says it spawns an enemy every 5 times, that every time 5 of these, increment of 5 comes up. So you draw the first one, you get a 4, oh no, and then you draw the next one, oh, it's a 3, oh, well then they're going to come out. But say you draw only you draw a 5, that'd be bad news. But say you draw like a 2, and then a 1, and then another 1. You won so many turns without having it. So it's kind of a cool system that you never know what's going to happen when you get to use this deck. I think that's really neat how they introduced that. The last thing we have, of course, is this mountain of punch boards, and I'm going to kind of move the box out of the way so we can take a look at some of these punch boards. But first I have to get all of this saran wrap off it. This first set of punch boards these punch boards are immense. So I'm going to kind of zoom in a little bit so we can see some of the punch boards. Here we go. The first set we have is all the different skills that some of the characters are going to be able to use. Up here we have circle tokens. These I believe are going to be hero tokens if we ever need to use some for some of our heroes. The next set of tokens we have again are more skills, more heroes up there. I believe these are the tokens that are going to go with the skills for these particular ones you see in front of you, which is kind of convenient. The next we have our coins. I remember we do have those upgraded coins that we're going to probably be using, but these are the coins that it comes with. The next set of things we have are all the different item tokens up here that you can find and be used in the scenario, or maybe you're going to be able to use them to sell at some point. We'll see how that all goes. These are the stamina chips. So for example, here's a Luna 1 stamina chip. This is pretty, or Lunaras, I believe. So you're going to put 9 of those chips that we saw earlier onto this particular thing, and then you're going to use those to perform certain actions in the game. On top of that, they're also your health points. So you're going to be, I think, do we actually have some of the standard chips down here? Yeah, we do have some. Okay, so these are the ones. Now, of course, I have the chips, but these are what you're originally going to use with this. So you'll put 9 of these on here, and you'll be able to use these to perform some of your actions. But also, when you take damage, you're going to take these off the stack and put them to the side over here. And whenever you run out of stamina that you can't put over here, any you've used already, you'll just start discarding over to here. And when you have no more, then you have to flip it to your wounded side, and again, get all your stamina back. And at that point, if again, all of your stamina chips end up over in this side, you're going to be out for that round or for the rest of this scenario, and you'll come back with that wounded card, which is not good. Notice you do level up as you go through this. So Luna does get like a level 2, 3, 4, 5 different chip here, so you'll be able to gain more of those going forward. We also have some cross chips up here, and over on this side we have a few other chips as well. I think these are going to be different statuses that you're going to be able to put onto your characters to show what exactly is happening to them. That's my guess. We also have some runic plate tokens that we're going to be using that potentially could be in some of the scenarios. I bet these are double-sided, so you might not know what exactly it is. So what tile you're going to stand? I'm going to step on this one. Okay, you got that. Well, you got to find the other one that's next to it. Oh, you need that one. So it's kind of cool. And these are dual-sided again. Some of them are the same thing on both sides, but some are not. And again, this is this normal side, wounded side for our characters. Now, I don't believe that these are double-sided. Oh, they are double-sided. These exact are also, it shows you how to get this particular unlocks after Road to Ruindale. You're able to gain that particular skill for whoever that is that I just pulled up randomly. Here are also some more item tokens, and I believe based on the different shape of the item, it's going to be worth more money or less money at the store if you decide to sell some of these. And I'm not sure, but I think you could probably use some of these to craft some cool things. Again, could be wrong about that. These are some things we're going to put on the overlay of some of the maps, I believe. We also have, again, now we have some activity tokens. We had different spawn tokens down over here. These are, I have no idea what these are. Dark Cellar, and these must be for something. The Mansion of Broken Hearts. Well, apparently it's, I don't know what that, maybe they should have probably hit that a little bit better. Then now these are all the enemies. Here's all the enemies. Now, of course, we have the miniatures of them, but here's just a few of the enemies. I'll kind of bring them up so you can see how they look. Just the standees themselves, I think, are going to be just great. Now, I don't believe it matters if you're fighting something from the front or the back, and if it does, then they should have put the backside of all these out there, but I don't believe it does. And the ones that are in purple, those are going to be particular bosses that you're going to be fighting through the game. So there's probably one big bad monster, but you must have some lieutenants and other things that happen in the game. Put those aside. And then, of course, we have those chips that you're going to be using for your particular character. There's a small set of cards here that I got that I don't really even know what to do with here. It's a traits and rituals deck. I apologize. I don't even know anything about this thing. But here's some of these. I don't want to flip them over because they're probably special cards that are going to be unlocked during the game. But it's a small thing that came with the Kickstarter. And now on to the monster miniatures. That is the next step we're going to see. Let's see how many we have here. It does show me exactly how to put them all back, which is fantastic. It even tells me what they are. That's pretty awesome. So then if I have to pick out all the skitters, let's say, I can just go to where the skitters are and pick them out. They must be right here. H is skitters. Look at that. That's amazing. So it has them in here. It also has these must be to symbolize whether it's wounded or not, is my guess, or like taking damage. I mean, you can put the ring on them. All right, then let's open this up here and see what they look like. Now we have the boss monsters up over here, and then we have the regular ones right here. So here's one of the skitters right here. They look pretty good. I'll have to paint some of these up, especially if we know these are the first thing we're going to have to fight. We'll have to deal with this thing. It's kind of cool. We have a lot of these little skitters here skittering around the board. We have some like worm type creature here. We have, what's this thing? This thing looks pretty awesome. It looks like a ghost creature of some kind. Don't know what that is. We have a snail down here. We've got some bandits that look like. Here's some bandits. See if I can get them to focus in on there. There we go. Bandits look kind of cool. These are kind of neat. These look like almost like wormlings, dragon type creature babies or something. I don't see a dragon in here though. This might be the first game I've played like this. It doesn't have a dragon. We have some, I'm going to guess some man-eating plant of some kind. Why not? That's kind of cool. What's this? This looks, and now again, I could just be looking, you know what, I could probably look over at the side to tell me what these particular monsters are, but that's okay. We don't need to know exactly what all these are. Then we've got our boss monsters over here. Here's a giant four-headed creature here with 2 swords. Looks good. Fantastic. We've got, what is this thing? This thing looks pretty ugly. Wow, it's like it's a something. It's a something. Let's see what this is. Looks like kind of a mage type character, a shaman or something. We have a whole bunch of cool things. Let's see what this guy looks like. It should be about the last one to show. Okay, so these are the miniatures. I think you get the gist. The miniatures are miniatures. We're going to paint some of these up for our painting stream so we can get these ready to go for our Enigma playthrough here at some point in the future, hopefully very soon. That's my goal. It's going to be probably a pretty priority to get this to the table because this looks pretty awesome. I'm super excited for this game. Oh, so many cool things. I love the fact that there's a class progression system. There's even a profession system that you can have. I like the initiative deck. I think that's a cool concept. I think that's a really neat way of doing that particular part of the game. And I like the way that the characters are going to be able to use their skills and things going forward. I think there's so many neat things that this game has to offer. I like the deck of cards, the tarot cards. They're going to reveal some of the game as it goes forward while you're playing through the map itself. And those books are immense. And like I said, the app is also really good when it comes to narration. It's a really good narration of the game. So there you go. That is the unboxing of Ageamonia. I'm excited to get this to the table. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell symbol so you know when more content comes out, and you'll know when Ageamonia, the playthrough, comes out as well. Also, please feel free to leave anything in the comment section below. I would love to hear from everyone. Have you had a chance to try the game? Are you waiting for your copy? Do you have your copy, and have you started playing? Please let me know in the comment section below. Or are you did not heard of this and are excited to get to it now that you've seen an unboxing of what it has in store for you? Also, if you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out the link to the Patreon. That is also in the description of this video. Those that have joined the Patreon are located here on the screen. Thank you so much for your patronage. It means the world to me. Those that, of course, join the Patreon, like I said earlier, get a chance at deciding in games like this what characters we're going to use, how to equip our characters, what skills we'll be able to use. So most likely, as we go forward in the game, I'll have my Patreon decide which class to pick up for our characters, and it'll be super cool to have them have a say in how the game progresses going forward. On top of that, Patreon supporters also get to see the playthroughs of that Colin and I make usually about a day or two ahead of time before it drops onto the channel without commercial interruptions. Thank you again so much for watching, and if you're excited to see Ageamonia or anything else that Colin and I have coming up, then I need you to meet me at the table.